who's actually going to get the most out of a headset that pushes 3840 per eye and a 106-degree field of view? Who should walk away because the price tag and the setup demands outweigh the visual fireworks? And does a Pimax branded supermodel really earn its cost for the everyday gamer or the occasional explorer? Those are the three questions I keep hearing in the comments whenever a new flagship VR headset drops, so let's unpack them before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest source of hesitation isn't the specs. No one doubts that a 57 pixel per degree panel looks stunning on paper. It's the real-world experience of getting that level of fidelity into your living room without turning it into a lab. I spent a weekend setting up the Pimax Crystal Super in a typical two-room apartment, using the standard SteamVR Lighthouse 2.0 base stations that most enthusiasts already own. The first thing I noticed is the headset's auto IPD motor. You slide the headset onto your head, press the adjustment button and the lenses glide from 58mm up to 72mm in a second, locking in perfect alignment for my eyes. That eliminates the fiddly manual rings that older high-end models required, and it means you won't be spending 10 minutes each session hunting for the sweet spot. For anyone who isn't comfortable spending an hour calibrating optics, that motorized IPD is a practical time saver. The visual payoff is immediate. With the QLED mini LED combo and local dimming, the blacks really do look black, not just dark gray. In a dark horror title, the contrast made shadows feel weighty, and the color pop was noticeable even on a cheap headset I own as a baseline. The zero screen door effect is real, too. There's no grid you can see if you look closely. The high refresh rate paired with low persistence gives you a smooth picture that feels less like a video game and more like stepping into a movie set. In practice, that smoothness translates to noticeably less nausea when you're doing fast turns in a flight sim. I've tried a few 90Hz games that normally make me feel a little queasy, and the Crystal kept the motion blur to a minimum, which is a tangible benefit if you've ever felt sick on a 60Hz headset. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The first is space. A 106-degree FOV means the optics sit farther from your face, which in turn pushes the headset's overall envelope outward. In my modest apartment, the headset's bulk made it tricky to duck under a low ceiling fan without hitting the top of the unit. The weight isn't extreme, but the distribution feels front-heavy, so people with neck issues or who plan marathon sessions of 3+ hours should think twice. Another practical snag is the reliance on Lighthouse 2.0. Those base stations deliver sub-millimeter tracking, but they require careful placement, ideally 2 stations at opposite corners and a clear line of sight. In a cluttered living room, you'll end up moving furniture or sacrificing a bookshelf just to keep the cameras from being occluded. If you're a casual user who just wants to plug into a console and play for an hour a week, that extra planning might feel like overkill. Battery life is another real-world factor. The headset itself doesn't have a built-in battery. It draws power from a tethered PC, which is standard for high-resolution units. That means you'll need a decent graphics card, something in the RTX 3080 class or higher, to actually hit the promised frame rates. If you're still on a mid-range GPU, you'll see the foveated rendering do its job, but you'll still be capped at lower settings, and the visual advantage shrinks. In short, the Crystal Super is a premium display that expects a premium rig. The value beyond the headline specs comes from that synergy. You only reap the full benefit when the rest of your system can feed it data fast enough. So, who should buy this? If you're a VR-first gamer who already owns a high-end PC, a set of Lighthouse stations, and you spend a good chunk of time in VR, whether that's flight simulation, immersive RPGs, or professional training, the Crystal Super feels like a logical next step. The Auto IPD, the True Blacks, and the ultra-wide view make those experiences feel genuinely larger than life, and the reduced motion blur can keep you in the game longer without the headache. Developers who are already leveraging dynamic foveated rendering will also see a smoother experience because the headset's Tobii eye tracking feeds real-time focused data back to the engine. In those scenarios, the price is justified by the reduction in motion sickness, the immersion boost, and the future-proofing of having a headset that can handle 4K content as it becomes more common. Conversely, if you're a newcomer who primarily uses VR for occasional media consumption, or you're still on a mid-range graphics card, you'll likely find the investment disproportionate to the benefit. A more modest headset, something that runs at 90 Hz with a 110° FOV but at 1440 per eye, will give